Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video we are doing another foundation review, my favorite. We are reviewing and demoing the new NYX Cosmetics Total Control Drop Foundation. So this foundation comes in like a little squeeze dropper. It's supposed to be like a customizable coverage from sheer, light to full, depending on how many drops you drop onto your face. So we're gonna test that all out today. It says it's a velvety matte finish. I did test it on the back of my hand to try like the color, see if it was a good color match. I did go a shade down kind of because I wanted to use this as like a foundation mixer for some of my darker foundations, which is another way you can use this stuff to mix it in with like a foundation of yours if it's a little too dark or light. You can customize it depending on what shade you get this foundation in, or just wear it alone. So that's really cool. So we're gonna test it out today and see how it goes. This is the first time I'm trying it out. It is a very liquidy consistency. As you can see, it drops out like water. But when I was blending it out in the back of my hand, when I first did like the color test, it was really sheer looking, but as I was blending it with my finger, it looked like it started to get more full coverage. So I'm guessing that the best way to apply this is probably gonna be buffing it on with a brush, but we are gonna try it with a beauty blender on one side and a brush on the other, just to see how it goes. So I'm just gonna start by applying a couple little patches to my face. And we're gonna go in with a damp beauty blender. Alright, so right away that amount that I just put on is definitely a light coverage, light to sheer coverage. I have a little blemish up here on my forehead that it definitely didn't cover. Still some redness showing through, but it looks very natural on my skin. It kind of just melted into my face. It doesn't look like I'm wearing makeup at all. So this kind of coverage right here would definitely just be like a running errands kind of coverage for me. This isn't something I would wear every day. I would definitely have to go back in and like spot conceal. So I'm gonna do the other side with the brush first and let this dry down a little bit, and then I'm gonna build it up to see if we can get that full coverage that it says you can build up with it. So we're gonna try that. It really didn't even feel like I put anything on my face though. Like it feels super lightweight. It feels like nothing is on my face. And I'm using a Morphe Y7 brush for this. The coverage is definitely better with the brush, like I thought it was gonna be. It's definitely giving a more full coverage when I buff it in with the brush. So the color is definitely a little bit light on me, but anyway, you can definitely see the difference right away with the beauty blender and the brush. It's a lot sheer on the beauty blender side, and I got like almost like a light medium coverage with the brush. I did about 3 drops on each side. So now I'm gonna go back in and try and build it up and see if we can get a full coverage out of this. And I think I'm just gonna use the brush now on my whole face because that seems to be what works best. So I definitely don't think with that second layer on both sides that it's a completely full coverage. I think it's about a medium coverage because I still have that blemish up here that's not completely covered. I can still see a little bit of my skin underneath, so I wouldn't consider this a totally full coverage foundation, even if you build it up. I don't know how many times I could really build it up until it starts to look cakey. I feel like if I went in with any more, it would start to look a little bit weird. The only issue I'm having is that I look a little bit dry. It's clinging to a little bit of dryness on my forehead and on my nose the slightest bit. But I also didn't moisturize before I put this on. I totally forgot, so that's probably the problem there. I do have normal to dry skin, so right now it is a little bit dry. So just keep that in mind. So I don't think that it's an issue with the foundation. I think it's more so an issue with me. But other than that, it looks really good. If you have more of like problematic skin, this probably isn't going to be your favorite if you're looking for something to like totally cover up everything. There's definitely better, fuller coverage options out there, but I like it. I think it's really nice. It is taking a little while to dry down. If I touch it, there is a little bit of transfer on my finger, so I feel like this is a foundation you're definitely going to need to set. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead, finish off the rest of my makeup, put some bronzer on so we can match this color situation we got going on, and see how my other makeup reacts on top of it, see if it works well, and stuff like that. Then I'll come back and give you guys my final thoughts. Alright guys, so I'm back and I'm definitely loving the foundation a lot more now that I put my makeup on top of it, and I'm super impressed with the way that makeup blends out on top of this foundation. Sometimes with a more matte foundation, cream products, which I did use today, I did do some like cream bronzing and stuff, tend to break up the foundation underneath, and it didn't break it up at all, so that is definitely a plus. I feel like the foundation does look a lot more full coverage with my concealer and everything on top of it now, but alone I still feel like the foundation is like a solid medium coverage, but it can look more full coverage if you build it up the right way with powder products and stuff like that. Ugh. What was that? But anyway, also while I was doing my makeup, I feel like the foundation had like a minute to kind of fully set in and react with like my skin oils and stuff like that. And I feel like my face looks a lot less dry now than it did when I first put it on. It's kind of not clinging to dryness anymore, if that makes any sense. I don't know, kind of just like absorbed into my skin more. So it looks a lot less dry. It's still definitely a satin matte finish. It's not like completely matte, but it's definitely like somewhere in between. So right off the bat, when I first put it on, I wasn't like super impressed with it, but now that it's had a chance to like sit on my face and I got to play with it a little bit, I'm definitely loving it a lot more, and I think it's really great. I feel like if you're super dry, it's definitely not going to be your favorite, but I feel like this would definitely complement a range of other skin types, and especially someone with really good skin. I feel like you would totally love this because the coverage is customizable and you can build it up to sheer to light. If you have really good skin, you're probably not going to be looking for a super full coverage foundation, so this stuff is definitely going to be great. And I feel like one of my favorite ways to use this stuff is definitely going to be dropping it in to other foundations, making like little concoctions, and like lightening up some of my darker foundations because this foundation was a little bit light on me. I did take some pictures with and without flash, which I'll insert somewhere over here. It actually looked almost better in the flash photography than it did in the picture without flash, which was kind of surprising to me. A lot of times foundations look worse under flash photography, and this one seemed to look actually better, which was really surprising, but definitely a good thing. So I do think this foundation would be great for pictures and stuff like that. It looks really good. I really love the fact that this foundation comes in 24 shades. The shade range on this foundation is awesome. Everyone is probably going to be able to find their shade in this stuff, which is always great. It's always appreciated when a brand does that, so everyone can get a good match. But other than that, I'm really loving it. I think it's definitely approved. It's a great foundation and it's affordable, so it's kind of a win-win right there. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask if I left anything out, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!